Welcome
up?
to another Tuesday night. Big show. I'm pretty stoked, man. I'm pretty stoked. I'm getting into the groove. I released a video today, Matthew. And finally took me days. I'm going to give you guys a little behind the scenes of how that happened. Just a little bit, not necessarily recorded, but I'm just going to tell a little story. But yes, we're here again. It's another Tuesday night. I love Tuesday nights, and I love talking with you. So obviously, I'm Pop Blender, and the one and only Matthew Matson is here. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well. Things are chugging along. Got some cool stuff to talk about.
Yes, we do, including a show that we both really, really like, and I think those that have seen it, um, really, really like. I got a great text message from 3 Star Draw about it, and he is not a fan of the lead actor. Let's just say that, not
Okay.
at all.
Yeah.
And he was won over, not to just put him on blast, but he was won over by his performance. I do like him as an actor, but we'll get into that
Yeah.
later on here. We have some Hasbro news. Obviously, I think a lot of people got some emails today or an email today.
Yeah.
I included. And then a little story I wanted to bring up, a little rumor story that's been circulating the last 3 days or so that I also wanted to bring up, which does make a lot of sense. And maybe some of you may or may not have heard about this. I don't know. But it's something I kind of caught wind of a couple of days ago. And so I wanted to bring it up. And I will also talk about the Matt Walsh film that's in theaters right now that I went to go see today, called Am I Racist?
You almost did the Ryan Kimmel.
I almost did. It would definitely apply more to Ryan than me. But the thing of it is, having met Ryan and hosted him here in Nashville at my restaurant during a meetup when he was moving to Florida and driving cross country, and getting to know him, for 3 hours, right?
Right.
I can definitely tell you he is not, and he
Yeah.
is a really cool person. But
Just don't mess up his food order.
just don't mess up his food order. Ryan Kennel, RK Outpost, for those of you looking for someone who is a lightning rod in the pop culture sphere. RK Outpost, Ryan Kennel, really funny dude, but he pulls no punches.
He's passionate and
and
animated.
and I admire that 100%. I really do.
Yeah.
So anyway, so here we are, Tuesday night. I will tell you, just to let you know, and to let anybody else in the chat know for right now, we do have some storms moving through Nashville. We have rain predicted for the next several days. We did lose power earlier today while I was at work. I hope that doesn't happen tonight. But we did lose it earlier today. So if something crazy happens, it could be because of that.
You guys might be in for some more too, because if that hurricane hits where
Yes.
they think it might, it's going to continue that storm all the way up the East Coast.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what it's from. So, so anyway, so as we kind of roll in, and I'm going to bring up the chat here momentarily. I want to tell a little story, not a real long story, but a short story. And you can highlight that one if you want to, Matthew. I'll be glad to take that highlight all day long. And you know which one I'm talking about.
Well, I like that one right there. That one.
I do like that one. I do like that one. The one that just come in probably at 9:07 p.m. I think. There you go. Punk with Toys says, hit the like button, fools. Damn straight. Hit that like button, baby. It definitely helps more than you can even imagine. And you've all
as
heard
long
of
as Punk can get his slow-mo settings on his videos correct and make sure his intro and outros are right side up, I think he'll be all right.
Well, and he may very well actually appreciate something I'm about to show here in just a moment, because I found it just heartwarming, to be honest with you, and it's from his most recent review. And I wanted to show that here in just a couple minutes. But So I put a video out today for those of you that do or do not know. It's a review of the first couple episodes of the Agatha All Along series on Disney Plus, and and let's just say that I'm not the greatest manager of my time. Okay, so so I've been working on this video for probably about 5 days. All right, at least 5 days, and
What's
let's
up,
just
Christine?
oh, hell yeah. And I'm going to go through the chat here in just a second, both of us, obviously. But I just wanted to say real quick, I've been working on this video for several days, and I had to hang up the undershirt and the overshirt and then come home and put them on and record and then try to figure out what I want to do and then take them off, go to bed. The next day, I'd get the same shirt, put it on, put the other shirt over the top of it. So that video that maybe some of y'all have watched from today is over the course of like 5 days. I wore those two shirts like 5 days. And I felt so stupid. But it's like, yeah, it would be kind of funny.
It would be funny.
It would be funny if every time I cut back in that I had a different shirt on. And one day I may do that. But yes, I'm not the greatest manager of my time. But one thing I'll always say, and especially about like Punk, 3-star draw, anybody that does reviews in particular, and just constant content, is that it requires you to sit down and focus and get it done. And I am an ADHD son of a bitch. And I will be in the middle. I'll be knee deep and I'm like getting work done. And I'm like, this is good. That was a good take. And yeah, I like that. Now here's a meme. I want to throw this in. And I'm like, yeah, I just need to smoke a cigarette. And then I'll go outside for 15 minutes. And then I start watching a YouTube video. Right. And then I come back inside. I sit down and it's like, oh, let me do one more segment. So anyway, and then in that scene, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I'm like, man, I just really need a cigarette. It's the dumbest thing. It's terrible. And by the way, kids, don't you go smoking out there. You hear me? Don't pick them up. But nonetheless, yes, I'm terrible with my time. But it was so funny having to put those two shirts on over and over and over for several days. I probably got a bigger kick out of it than anybody else. So let's get to it. What is up with the chat? Dreadnought.
K6.
Yeah. K6. First in line. Through the door. Getting the hand stamp, baby. That's that 21 and over hand stamp. We don't need no little wristbands or no. We don't need no big X's. We got the 21 and over. Shark Eyes too. Right as I was typing yes you are and we thank you too, Shark Eyes showed up. And party people. Yes, absolutely. 3-star draw, ready to travel down the witch's road, the witch's road, the witch's road.
Hey, careful! They released that song, so it's copywritten.
Well, it's a good thing my video didn't get copywritten. Although I think I only played just about 6 seconds, so I think I came in the under. If you're betting the under on me not getting copyright claimed, not struck, and that's a story that we're going to mention momentarily, but just for a moment, I did not, so we'll see. All is well. Let's see. Clint Jorgensen, they need an 8th day of the week, as you highlighted already, to get all these streams in. I also know that Aaron the Toy Enhancer is streaming at this very moment as well. And I understand that some of you may be bouncing back and forth, and that's okay. I fully understand. There's too many streams to try to watch all the time.
And the replay crew is always well appreciated as well.
And nothing wrong with that. Replay crew, and you could replay it at 1.25 speed. You could replay it at 1.5, or you could do like Matthew and do 7.6 speed. And just and somehow try to listen to Alvin and the Chipmunks talk about toy reviews. I don't know how that's even possible.
I'm just telling you, some of these reviewers, when I watch them live, it's like not the same experience because I'm like, I've only ever listened to your videos on 2X. You sound so different and I'm waiting for you to talk like I normally hear you talk pace wise.
Yeah, it is really funny. And I'll be honest with you too, as I was watching the playback of the video that I made, I was like, yeah, I would watch this in at least one and a half. If it were me watching another reviewer that talks as slow as I do. And in my mind, when I'm making that video, I think I'm talking faster. And sometimes, if some of you pay real close attention to that video, in the second half of it, I start to pick the pace up a little bit. You might notice that. Christine Mendoza is here. What is up, Joe? Um, and then yeah, Punk says slow motion is my specialty. I hear you, brother. Trust me, at my age now, 49, slow motion is all it's about. Ronnie, trick shot. Yes, hello, my hatted friends. Yes, it is what it is. I have decided that this is going to be my YouTube look with the hat. Matthew, he's got his hat. So you know what? I'm going to own it. I'm going to love it. Eric Thurman is in the house as well. Smoked for 20 years and quit. And absolutely great job. Most definitely. I get a text message from my father every probably week and a half or two that says 1-800 quit smoking. um
let me grab this one real quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I'm not watching you live and I'm watching your videos, I do watch you on 2x. I don't think you talk faster than anybody else, but I've got an ear that's attuned to accents as it is, so I pick up on those pretty good. So I'm weird.
Yeah, listen, man, if you're somebody that really tries to consume, which is the word of today now, consume a lot of content, then one way to do that is to, especially on YouTube,
Yeah.
is to up that speed. And I do it a lot. I do it more now than I ever did before. And once I kind of learned that trick, not that I didn't know it before, but once I understood how fast I could go, and absorb the information, then I know that about 1.5 is about as fast as I can go.
You just
And
wait. You just wait about 6 months.
Okay. Well, I believe you. I know what you're gonna say. It's like practice, right?
Yep.
Practice makes perfect. I am gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna say it here. 3-star draw. I have watched some of your videos in 1.5 speed, but I would expect you to do the same to me because we are both from the South, and we both we take a long way to get to third base. You know what I mean? We take the long way around. But bottom line is the view is what counts. Doesn't matter what speed. I did want to say hello to the lovely, talented Frostbites G.I. Joe Repro. Good day, boys. I hope your day is great. I hope your day is great, and know that we love you too. Love all of you guys, man. Everybody here so far. And as
we say hi to Ronnie Trickshot.
I did. Yes, just a little while ago. Hello,
we got our triple thread of Aussie representation at the moment.
Yes, we do, and I love it. And right now it is a Tuesday night for you and I. It is a Wednesday morning, I guess. Wednesday morning, I think so. There and oh, real quick, and I have to highlight this too. 3-star draw says, I watch my own videos in 1.5 and wonder how the fuck people sit through it. Listen, the thing of it is we're our own worst critics. It just is what it is. We are our own worst critics. I know that I sit and critique every single frame practically, and hopefully one day I will get to the point as I lose these boyish good looks that I won't be as harsh on myself. But while I still look this good, I have to be critical, right?
Hey, it's not a bad thing. A critical eye is not a bad thing. You just have to take it in stride and realize that there's good stuff there too.
Yeah. One thing my mom says is getting older is hell, and there ain't nothing fun about it. So I probably agree with that.
It just became Wednesday afternoon over there.
Yeah, there we go. All right. I want to make sure I get my time down for that too, just so I know. I was having that conversation at work today actually about what time it is Australian time, and I was telling
Well,
somebody
so
about
yeah, I
my
would want to
friends that
know.
I've made.
Yeah, I want to know when Shark Eyes, when you went live this morning, or Frostbite, when you go. Sorry, for me it's morning. When you go live on your regular show, it's 5 a.m. my time. What time is it there?
Uh, so yeah, it's. I am curious about that. I know I've asked. I apologize for not remembering, but yes, it is like 4:30 a.m. here, and there was one morning. And sorry for the flashing lights, y'all. I hope you don't have epilepsy. Because the power went out, my ring lights have just gone ape shit here, and but yes, there was one morning I did participate in a stream, and I think Shark Eyes and Ronnie were going,
PM.
and
Okay.
I was still awake, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to jump in here for a minute. I'm normally not up this time of day, and I just wanted to say hey, right, just get in there and just at least say hello and listen for a little while before I passed out, but. And I think I was working on a video or something. I don't know. Who knows? That was the last week, I think. But
I
yes.
figured it was something like that, 7:30 p.m. That makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Well, right. Yeah. Just like us. And that makes total sense. So anyway, so I guess really we can get into a little bit of news. Everybody, as you look at this banner, you already know. Let's see here. I will bring this up and go ahead and share this picture that I have. Um, so everybody got the email from Hasbro, right? Um, well,
You got 30 days to make sure your address is correct, all the shipping information. Yeah, so
yeah,
those will be going out as
there it
soon
is.
as the end of next month. But
Yeah, and it's funny because 3 Star and he had to kind of correct me on this too because I had messaged him and was like, hey man, this is it's going out, Um, and he's
don't.
like, yeah, no, it's about 3 weeks, something like that. They got to cross all their T's and
Yep.
dot their I's. And so yes, that it's kind of my mistake for jumping the gun there. But yeah, this is the email that most of you um probably received. And I was happy to receive it because I wasn't really I mean, I guess November was really the prediction, right, Matthew? Is that pretty much the
Well, people were
deal?
saying somewhere between November and December, right? So that makes sense. If they start shipping out
Yeah.
end of October, but most likely early November, we'll see it by Thanksgiving, as late as Christmas, depending on when you got in on it.
Yeah. I was happy to get this though. I can't wait for it. I know everybody that backed it is in the same frame of mind. Now, I'm sure we did bring this up. Did you back the Dragonfly?
I did, yeah.
Okay, I thought so. I thought so.
So that's a big one for me. I mean,
Yeah.
had that one as a kid. My dad broke the rotor off, so I had to get so he got me the Tigerfly, but
Okay.
I still had all the stuff from the Dragonfly. So this is kind of my replacement Dragonfly.
Okay. Well, it's a replacement and an upgrade, so to speak,
Yep.
or at least a big ass upgrade. Yeah, I happen to just go ahead, go ahead. My bad.
Well, I was just gonna say, and if you're paying attention, there's about 1,000 or so of the Skeletron Robo Skulls that have hit the water. So the first grouping of them are going to arrive for QC checks and being shipped out. Uh, Also around the same time frame, probably about the next month or so.
Okay. So for anybody that ordered that, then you could be looking forward to that too, especially if you double dip, so to speak. I double dipping on this one. This is one of them ones there was no double dipping for me. Not on another line, not on anything. It was like, okay, this is my one thing right now. It's kind of like the Rattler
Well,
coming up.
so the
Like at that
Robo Skull
time.
was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh
and
shit! You know what? And I,
and
I
nobody
apologize. You're
nobody knew that
yes.
vehicles were happening. And then that was so awesome looking. Everybody's like, and it was a pretty good price, and it's been a little bit delayed, but we've been getting pieces of it, and you know. Somebody just recently did a review of one of their figures and said it felt cheap, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
cheap to me. I mean, they're pretty good, but I haven't compared it to a Delta 17 or anything either. But
Okay.
the stuff that's been coming out so far, I've enjoyed. I've liked the little drone that they did and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But their biggest holdout has been Marauders finishing up those 6-inch figures. So
Um. And there's no timetable on that, right?
yes, there
Not
is. The timetable has been put out there, and the timetable has been moved since they released it. But
okay.
basically, they've got phases of deployment, and we've got the bulk of it is supposed to be shipping before Christmas,
Okay.
and then early next year, springtime, Marchish, they should, as they've promised, the last portion of the shipment should come in. So the flight stands won't come in till then. The 6-inch figures won't come in till then, except for, I believe, the initial pilot figure that's 6 inches. I want to say maybe coming with the Robo Skull, but I'm not entirely positive on that.
Okay. Well, pertaining to the Dragonfly, 3 star says, where is it at? Right here. I hate when this thing moves on me. My buddy Berserker's Brush said it was 3 weeks after the date in the email before he got his, talking about the his tank, I believe. Yeah, and I kind of remember that too. I not as well as that, and maybe it's just because too many alcoholic drinks as an adult. I don't know, or whatever.
Well, I mean, when you read this email, it says you have until October 24th
October 24th.
to confirm your address. So I
Right.
can't imagine they would ship any of them out until after that date.
Nah, 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 nah. And I think for me and maybe other people. So I was one of those kids, Matthew, in school when they would give you the test and it would say, now make sure that you mark A, B, C, D, or if there's multiple answers, you could put 2 answers to one question, whatever. And I would just start taking the test and I wouldn't look at the instructions. That's the kind of kid I was. And then I have to go back and erase a bunch of crap, right? And then I have to refill it out. So that's me with this email. I just saw, hey, it's
Hey, they're
coming.
here. They're coming. They're coming.
Just wait. There's more. And so I just jumped the gun and was like, hell yeah, it's coming next week. But yes, obviously that is not the case. And of course, that's all on me. And also 3 star said Dragonfly's a must have more so than the Hisser Rattler. Shark Eyes says 3 star is off his meds. Yeah, I don't know that this is a must have. I guess it's a must have in a sense that I want it. I don't know that I just said, oh gosh, I had to have the Dragonfly copter because I care for it that much. But that's for me. All right. That doesn't mean I can speak for everybody else.
Right.
And so and Clint, back 2 of them. They're
Ooh,
great options for displaying the
yes.
Dragonfly.
Yep.
And yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's going to be wonderful. I can't wait. I love the add-ons. I love the different tiers and everything. And I'll posit this question to you, Matthew, that Eric Thurman says. Any bets on who will review the Dragonfly first? Will it be Moody, Punk, or possibly B? What do you think? Who's got the inside track? Anybody got any inside knowledge that we can bet on? We want to play some bets here, folks.
My vote is D amazing.
There you go. He ain't even playing around.
Wow, no, man, that guy gets everything first. I mean, he's
Right.
Mezco specifically ships his order first every time. They
Wow.
prioritize his order. They
That's
know who he is. They
interesting.
know, and they it's a known thing. They prioritize his order because whenever something starts to ship, he's
Okay.
got it in hand before anybody realizes they got a shipping notification. So they prioritize his and a few other people that maybe Bat Bomb or somebody like that, but somebody that they
Okay.
know does a lot of reviewing and a lot of positive Mezco reviews. They send them out first.
Okay. Well, and we know that in different industries there are people that, have those connections or have made those inroads that are able to get products, movie reviews, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Just, and good for them, right? Good for them. And they're able to put that stuff out, and that's a symbiotic relationship that works great for the supplier and great for the receiver. Um and yeah,
That's a shame because you're so much closer to where it was
I
made.
agree. I agree. I agree with that. And that was actually a name that I was going to bring up. I was actually going to bring him up and say, well, what about Shark Eyes? But yeah, I mean, there are people that just have that's just an option for them.
Yeah.
It's not an option for everybody.
Yeah.
Now, doesn't matter because I think that for most of us, we're gonna check out those reviews. We're gonna watch. We want to see what everybody's thoughts are, and I will do my own. Actually, I didn't do one on the Hiss tank. I'm not a toy reviewer, but I will do one on the Dragonfly to give everybody my opinion. Not that anybody really cares about that, but I will do that. And then did you see the one from 3 stars? Says how much was the Robo Skull, Matthew?
Oh shoot, I don't even remember at this point.
Okay,
Uh, I want to say it was 2 or 250 a piece,
okay,
something like that. But I mean
okay.
that's like everything. That's the 6 inch figures. That's the 4 inch figures. That's
Oh
the
wow.
flight stand, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You got a better deal if you got the SE version. So you get the original and the SE version. And the SE version comes with a different paint job and then the mask for it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, all the figures, because
I
again,
mean, so
the
good,
O ring, the
good
4 inch and
value
six
though.
inch.
Good
Yeah,
value though.
I
Okay.
if everything comes through the way that I was thinking and hoping, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Let's say hello to Mython the Python, brother. Good to see
Hell
you,
yeah.
man.
What is up? And so when that comes in, if that comes in for you, then maybe you can show that off here. Maybe we can throw a little full screen action up here for you.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you're gonna have pictures, that's for sure.
Well,
And
I've already got some shots planned out between the
I'm
Dragonfly and
sure.
the Robo Skull, and
I'm sure you do. Yeah, no, I have no doubt about that. I did see that who was it that was getting a lot of those early reviews was JoJo Jerk, I think.
Mhm.
Somebody said that was getting a lot of those reviews
Yeah,
early.
he's got a connection like straight out of the factory, so he gets them from Hong Kong, I believe.
Eric Thurman says, "Will Glenda steal the show?" Shark Guy says, "My money's on Bobby B." Glenda, maybe she will. We'll see once you get her in hand. You know how it is, man. You can see all the renders you want. You can see all the photo. It's
I
all
think
about having it in hand.
I think people are going to like that one a lot because it is basically the Scarlet body that we got in the retro line that they're using again for Coral. And
Yes,
you pop and swap that head, and you put Scarlet's head on that. You got Pilot Scarlet, which was from the 25th line. And I mean, for the people that didn't like it from the beginning, I'm like, you don't know GI Joe lore that well, and two, it still looks like a great figure. So,
right.
you know,
Well, I mean, look, I'm stoked. Just wanted to bring it up. Didn't want to spend a million years on it by any means. Everybody got this, and if you didn't get it yet or hadn't heard about it yet, check your email. But I
yep,
know you all have, so there's no sense of that. We're not breaking any news here, that's for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I can't wait. That'll be a nice pre-Christmas thing, right? That'd be a
yep.
nice little pre-Christmas pre-Christmas present to have. I did want to bring something up that's kind of somewhat been making the rounds the last few days, and I'm curious how much merit there is. Now, one thing I want to bring up first before I bring up this other, I guess, rumor,
Are you
whatever.
skipping around on me, or are you going to go in order? Because if you're going to go in order, I got a lot to say on that topic.
Hang on. Hang on. Let me. Well, for one, my screen just crapped out. Um,
I've seen a couple people, Mython, that got that retro card stalker. He looks good.
are you talking about if you look at the banners right now, Matthew?
Yeah, the one in order there. Yeah, if you're gonna go to that next one after Dragonfly emails.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is that good?
I got a lot with that. Yeah,
That's the one I was going to go
yeah,
to.
yep.
So this has been somewhat making the rounds in the last few days.
The last few
Uh,
days, if you've been paying attention, this topic has been coming around for about the last 4 months.
yes. Now the reason I said the last few days is because on YouTube there's been several videos made recently out of this topic, including one Overlord DVD. Now you and I both know this person. Do
I hadn't heard Doomcock. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
Doomcock put out
oh,
a
I know who he
video.
is. I know who he is. I was a Patreon member and all that for him for a little
Oh yeah,
while.
man.
I still get all the emails and stuff.
So he put out a video about this, and he is somebody that I don't follow as much anymore.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
but
me either.
but at the same time, in the past, he has been right on several occasions about certain things.
About
So
certain things. I mean, the Kathleen
now,
Kennedy one sunk him.
no, and not everything. But my point is yes, all rumors obviously can be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But when you have somebody that maybe has had a contact or been correct or whatever, you know,
Yep.
it's like, okay, I'll pay attention, I'll take a listen. And I noticed that he and about a few other people about 3 days ago started making videos. Now, yes, this story goes back a little ways. We're talking probably longer than 4 months.
No,
This
no, yeah,
is
yeah. I've been hearing rumors about this since the beginning of this year
yes,
because people were talking about the Disney contract is coming up, and then I mentioned it here before too. Disney is increasing their licensing fee to
yes.
everyone, and Hasbro may not renew it because they're not seeing revenue that they want to see from that for paying that license fee.
Absolutely. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because this right here from Hasbro, January 26, 2022, only 2 years, 2.5, 2 3/4 years ago.
Yep.
This is their announced extended relationship with Lucasfilm, renewing its long-standing licensing deal for Star Wars, Indiana Jones. It says the Indiana Jones lineup by Hasbro will be available in the US in 2023. Okay, we all know that. We saw that line come and go. It was not successful.
Nope.
Now, are those figures good? Yeah, I think they are good. 3 Star Draw has
They're
several of them, and I
they're
enjoy
not
them.
bad for the money, but
Absolutely
that
not.
SHF Figure Arts one is amazing.
However, my thon, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Um, anyway, so the reason I saw this and looked this up because this is literally just 2 years ago. So they extended this partnership. But you and I both know, and everybody here in the chat, we all know Star Wars toys are not selling at all. And
Yep.
the reason they're not selling is not Hasbro's fault by any means.
Nope.
It is Disney and Lucasfilm's entire fault why these toys aren't selling. And it's because of what Dreadnought K6 right here.
Well,
And I'm
I mean,
sorry, but it has a lot to do with it. It
it's
is
not
what it
just that.
is.
I
It's
mean,
not just that, but Matthew, you know how I feel about this.
yeah,
It
yeah,
has a lot to do with that. And I feel like people, they check out when you decide to go all in and put all your chips into one basket like that.
yeah. I mean, it comes down to storytelling. The storytelling is not engaging. They're losing viewers all the time. You can blame it on that, on the fact that they're using Chat GPT to write all their scripts. They're the least talented people to write their scripts, and then
Right.
they put actors in there with directors who don't know how to direct because they're going to the cheapest person they can because they want to mass produce this stuff and make it as cheaply as possible. So they're not paying anybody anything. So they're hiring low quality talent. So they're not getting any response from it because people realize this is garbage content. I'm not even going to bother watching it. They're not watching it. They're losing billions of dollars. They've lost $8 billion in the last several years.
Yes.
And so they're scrambling to try and find ways to make money. And then they put the demands on Hasbro. You have to make figures for this. You have to make figures for this, right? and they don't get a lot. Hasbro doesn't get a lot of say in some of those decisions, right? It's like,
Right.
okay, we have to do what the licensor wants, right? And so they have to produce these, and then they've been producing them in such a high quantity, and they're not getting bought by anybody. I mean, you go back to the last Jedi figures, the Rose Tico and the Snokes and everybody else. They're stuck on shelves for, they're still on shelves some places, right?
We've all seen it. We've all
Yeah,
seen it. Everybody here has seen it.
yeah, and so there's a multifactorial thing going on there, and so if the licensor is going to force you to do things that are not profitable to you, and you have to pay an exorbitant license fee to procure that license, it then no longer becomes a factor. It's like, hey, if you're not going to let us make what we want to make or make the things that are going to make us money, this partnership isn't going to work. So there may be a renegotiation that happens, and they're going to go back and forth on that for those reasons, but I know how desperate Disney is to make money right now, so they're going to squeeze every penny they can out of whoever they can con into picking up the license.
That's true, and also we just saw it with the Disney and DirecTV, battle. Now they just restored those channels, but DirecTV is trying to go consumer friendly
Yep,
to maybe maximize the customer experience and maybe go a little cheaper. Disney is not in that business right now because of the business decisions that they've made. And so even though those channels got restored on DirecTV, that's just one other aspect of it. Now, right here in this article, and this is on Jedi Temple Archives. Look, again, rumor, grain of salt, but does it make for good fodder, good content? It does, just like a bad show does.
yeah,
But I do believe there's a lot to this, and so they kind of throw a few things out here, kind of three tiered kind of thing. And it says right here, it says so here's the basic question: would Hasbro ever consider trying to abandon Star Wars or get out of that contract? It says these are the things we know. Partner brand sales have declined for several quarters in a row now to all-time record lows.
yep,
According to analysts, in quarter four 2023, both the Marvel and Star Wars toy lines were tired, as in sales are declining,
yep,
especially in holiday season.
yep,
Three, the okay, so the TVC, which the HasLab, crawled across the finish line this year for Star Wars. Okay, that's the Cantina.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, the vintage line is probably one of their most successful lines.
I agree with you, but here it says not even unlocking the final tier. GI
Yeah,
Joe crushed it, soaring to 28,000 sold items and all tiers unlocked, of course. And then also here it says, I want to add an observation. All the recent toy reveals are fan channel Amazon Pulse releases.
yes,
What they are not are Walmart and Target releases.
yes.
In short, both retailers don't want to carry the toys, period.
Yeah, I mean, it goes deeper than that. If you look at the release schedule that's coming,
That's what
they
I've
have
got
slowed
right here
down.
highlighted.
Yeah, they've slowed down the release schedule. They've pulled back on what they're talking about. Even there was no HasLab this year, right?
Right.
And for Star Wars, right?
I mean, they
Was
had
that
the
the
cantina.
Cantina? Okay, okay.
Yeah, the
Um,
cantina, which
and
made
then
it, but
there was no Marvel Legends one, was there? Because the last one was last year, right?
yes.
So there wasn't a Marvel Legends one this year. And so that, but what they did was they took what was potentially a HasLab project and they released it for $85 a pop for a low articulation large figure in the Dragon Man, right? And so they're starting to push this stuff out, but they don't seem like they have a long term plan or goal with it. So the Marvel Legends and Star Wars teams may be moving on.
I mean, look, I mean, just keeping it just to Star Wars. If we look at this release schedule for 2024 and beyond, okay, and I have another story to bring to you guys, news that just broke recently, and I'll bring that to you here in just a minute. Not that I'm sharing anything maybe any of you haven't seen, but 2024, the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Well, we all know that the Acolyte was an unmitigated disaster. No one is buying those figures. No one cares about those toys. The Skeleton Crew is marketed towards kids. This is going to be kind of a Goonies, kids, Star Wars kind of thing. But those toys, obviously, at this point, are not going to sell. You've got 2025 with Andor. toys for Andor,
Uh,
nothing doing.
I mean,
Mandalorian,
there's some characters in there people like. There's some things that collectors are like, hey, I really like that. I want it from every
sure,
one of those shows, even the shows that are haven't performed well. You
right,
know,
but not
there's
enough to move
not
the
enough.
needle, though.
Right,
Not
not enough to
enough,
move the. You're right. Yeah,
right?
not enough to move the needle.
And
So Hasbro's in a quandrum, right? What do we do?
even yeah, even with Mandalorian Grogu 2026, which may very well be moved back.
Yeah,
And of course we haven't even talked about the Ray film,
yeah,
right? Which we'll
yeah,
get to momentarily. So the this does not look good, and I could see where Hasbro would absolutely want to renegotiate
yeah.
that. Why would they want to pay those fees
Right.
when the property is DEAD dead? It's
Yeah, I mean,
dead.
the best sellers that they have are the original trilogy
Absolutely.
and the Clone Wars stuff.
Yes.
People
Yes.
really love the Clone Wars stuff too. There's a lot of good lore there, and if you made toys or delved into that and made quality content, then you'd have something. But
I mean,
not
you're
many
talking
people are
about
in the sequel trilogy era.
no, and you're talking about Hasbro. I mean, look, Hasbro would probably quote a number and say, look, yeah, we'll make some figures, but we're not going to make X amount because they're
Yep,
just going to be end up at Ollie's
yep.
and Ross. What?
And
No
that
one
that
wants
leads to
that.
whenever a figure goes to discount, then the original purchaser of those figures goes back to the manufacturer and says, we don't need as many of those because they didn't
Yes.
sell.
They don't
And
go back to Lucasfilm.
they know, yeah, they go back
They
to Hasbro.
Absolutely. And with Hasbro already financially being in straits, this is another thing. So, this is a company maybe possibly looking out for their best interests. Again, rumor, but again, it's worth noting because over the last year or two or plus, I know I have been talking about with Hasbro losing money and changing certain things, whether that's regards to packaging or whatever. But this is just another story that really reminds me that the toy business is really only mainly for grown men collectors at this point, to be
I,
honest with you.
I mean, the
And
adults, right? I hate that word,
yes,
but the
yes,
adults, right?
absolutely. And
And
then when it comes to certain properties, Star
yeah,
Wars is a property that right now is not selling. Go
well,
ahead.
I mean, as Christine's saying there, yeah, I mean, KOTOR has some massive fans, and people want to see that done. But at the same time, do you want to see it done with people that are in charge right now? Because the question is,
Yes.
would they do justice to that material? Because they want to disavow everything that came before. They have to make it there, so they have to change it with a whole bunch of new people that coming in, so that they don't have to pay royalties to the people that created the characters or the things initially, because they're going to change them so much,
Yes.
which is what J.J. Abrams did, so he could make his money. It's a common thing in Hollywood to maintain revenue streams and to take away revenue streams from where the ideas actually came from.
Absolutely. I mean, but at the end of the day, I think that I don't think we'll get any argument from anybody here in our chat and possibly anybody watching on replay that right now there is no, and I mean, when I say no, I don't mean there's not people that won't go get a
Right.
Star Wars figure they like,
Yeah.
but there really is no interest from a mass appeal from people that want to go out and get multiple figures in a line, that want to complete, other than serious hardcore fans, and they're not even showing up right now.
And you know what? And for better or for worse, I almost think this is better for the quality of product that all these
Yes,
things that we love implode, because then it'll
yes,
go back to the people who truly love it to create something or get a license or whatever and come up with something that is actually consistent with the things that they loved, which is what a lot of people loved about those properties. And if it stays consistent with that, changing, modifying, growing, whatever, but consistent with the themes, the concepts, the threads that flow through it,
right,
then you're going to have something that is going to be successful. You look at the Darth Bane trilogy. That was, a complete offshoot way in the past, or not way in the past, but moderately in the past of the Star Wars universe, and it told an amazing story. And you could actually see some elements of that in the Acolyte. And it's like, if you had just followed the Darth Bane trilogy and told that story instead of this, It would have
Oh,
been one of
yeah.
the greatest Star Wars shows that they'd ever done.
Well, you know
And
what, though, Matthew? I
and
don't know that I trust that in those hands.
no, I understand. No, I
But
agree with you.
I
But
know the
I'm saying
spirit of what you're saying.
if they followed the lore that was
Right.
in those books, they
Yes.
could have made something truly wonderful because it had everything that they want in it. You know, for their viewpoints and things that people may not like or whatever. There's enough there in those books that they could take elements of that and present that if they wanted to, but it would still make a compelling story had they followed the lore. But they can't because it was a male lead, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But
and look, I'm gonna tell you right now, Christine says, Star Wars got so bad it retroactively made me not care for any Star Wars, even the OG trilogy. And that's a sad fact that a lot of people have had to kind of wrap their head around. And I
yeah,
hate to hear that,
yeah,
but
me too.
I understand because as Nerdrotic says all the time, all roads lead to Jake Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like
If
when
you
you
can't
know
erase,
that, it's
yeah, if you
hard to
can't erase
separate.
Jake Skywalker, if you can't separate that from it, then it is truly broken,
It's difficult.
and it ruins it for a lot of people. And I get it. I can
Yeah.
appreciate the good things, and
I'm with you. I'm
I
with
will
you too.
always love that original trilogy.
Right.
I have great affinity for the prequel trilogy because there are elements of it that I truly love, but the Clone Wars cartoon I really love.
I absolutely am in I adore that series.
Yeah.
It is absolutely the best blend between adult and kid-friendly storytelling.
Especially as it moved on through the seasons. And what I mean, you could say whatever, but Lucas actually had some of his kids write some of the episodes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was interesting to see where they went with it. And they tried to incorporate a lot of the comic book lore, and some characters that were introduced in the Clone Wars comic book series that was then later disavowed because this series took place.
Right.
But they tried to bring in some of those characters, and I thought that was fascinating in itself. So there's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, man. I I do love Clone Wars, but look, I can separate to an extent the OT and from anything else. And I look, I did like the prequels as well. But really after movie wise, anything after Rogue One, I mean, I like, whatever. Force Awakens was okay. Rogue One, I like. After that, whatever. But bottom line is when it pertains to this, yes, I would say we both would agree that when it's all said and done, yes, this brand is definitely struggling. I did want to say hey to Todd C real quick. He says Pop is ninjist. Listen, all right, I'm not a ninjistaphobe. I it's just that yes, I'm not the biggest fan of all the GI Joe ninjas. All right, I will
Okay.
tell you though, Todd, Storm Shadow, dude, I'm down with Storm Shadow since I was a young kid. He is one of my all-time faves. And I
Yeah.
liked him better as a Cobra than a GI
Ooh.
Joe. And that's me.
Mm.
That's just how I roll sometimes. And Wraith Mace is here too. So I
What's
just want
up,
to say
Rafe?
hi to Todd C and Wraith Mace for joining us here, man. And always we are the hammer. Love it, man. Dude brings it. And I love
Storm
that.
Shadow is my favorite GI Joe character, and because the arc that he
Okay.
went on. You
Okay.
know,
That's great. That's
but
great.
as a person who trains in martial arts, has studied martial history, and tells everybody who will listen that ninjas aren't real and they never really actually existed.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
peasants that were spies, or they were samurai wearing uh, dark gear, dark clothing to infiltrate for assassinations or whatever. The actual ninja didn't actually exist. That's my opinion. That's
Yeah.
what I've researched. I still love the ninjas in GI Joe because it's fantasy, and I do like my fantasy from time to time, my Conans and my
Man,
Lord of the Rings,
I'm with
and
you. I'm with you, and I get that. I totally do. I did want to mention real quick, Dreadnought K6. I tell you what, on a Friday night, this is something you and I
yeah,
can. You be look. I will more than welcome you to come in on a Friday, and I will talk about this as much as you want because those are words I say all the time, and I say them at work. And so you are more than welcome. This stream, not exactly the best place to start getting into that conversation, and not because we can't. It's just we kind of keep it light here.
Yeah.
But yes, I will tell you that on a Friday, you are more than welcome to bring that up, and I will be more than happy to talk about those very things for
Three
sure.
star. I will say Shogun is a fictionalization of actual events. Number one. Number two, the people that were used for the assassination attacks and infiltration were either samurai or peasants. They weren't actual what they would call ninja.
Ninja.
Because, yeah.
Listen, here's the deal, and Frostbite gets it. Hit that like button, people. Push it up, and let at very least as many viewers. Let's get the likes, and then beyond some. I know people are dipping in and out, and that's fine. There's so much stuff going on that you got to kind of stream surf, so to speak. That's what I call it, stream surfing, baby. And so, Mr. Wonderful in the house, Toilet. I'll give you a toilet bump right there, baby. And then Shane, same time toys, double duty. Right. I get it. I do.
If Mr. Wonderful is here, they must have gotten to their topic. They got through their musical concert to get to their topic finally. All right, good job, guys.
And I always love to see this, and thanks for that. Most definitely. So real quick, since we're on the topic of Star Wars, and we're not going to spend too much time on this, but I did want to share it. Evidently, the news is broken that the Rey movie is been delayed, and they won't start filming until 2025. So that much anticipated Star Wars Rey putting back the Jedi Order, that's something Luke Skywalker had already done, but evidently now they've given it to her. The Rey movie's been delayed to 2025. Matthew, how do you feel about that? You're muted. I lost you. You're muted. It might be his headphones, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not hearing. We'll get it. We'll get him. I got to get his opinion on this because, and once he gets it tightened up, yeah, I'll let him get situated. Yeah, this did not surprise me at all. As a matter of fact, since this movie got announced, and not only did they hire a documentarian to make this movie, a documentarian, by the way, who has done phenomenal documentary work about the Middle East and about how women are treated in the Middle East. But Disney went all in, and they brought a woman who has done documentaries about how women are treated in the Middle East, and they're giving her hundreds of $1 millions to make a movie about Star Wars. And I don't think that's the best decision. I didn't think it at the time, and I don't think moving forward. And this may very well be Lucasfilm's way of pulling her off of this project.
Is that better? You guys hear me?
Absolutely. Okay. You are there. So Matthew, I was just saying that with this delay, this may very well be Lucasfilm's way of taking Charmaine Chinoy off of this film. What do you think about that?
You know what? I mean, remember what happened with Solo, the movie that lost money? Okay.
Absolutely.
It was a big deal, and they kept pushing it off. Kathleen Kennedy wasn't happy about the comedy, and so they fired Lord Miller, and they got in Ron Howard to finish it up. They've already spent a ton of money on this movie, and I have speculation that this movie will never come out because they're going to take all that money and write it off and get it back basically from the government because they're going to say, we never released this movie. And then all the investors, so they can pay back their investors that have paid for this movie, right? Because this is all a shell game of money that they're playing. And Roger Corman was famous for this and always has been famous for this. He was put on projects for movies that would never be made. It was only there to hold an IP license. And occasionally some of those movies got out because
Yeah,
he'd actually go
yeah.
into production and do stuff with them, and then they said, okay, we're just scrapping this thing. And they
Fantastic Four is the classic example,
and
right?
that's actually the best Fantastic Four movie that's ever been made, and it was never released by the companies that made it. Right, you
Right.
can get a copy of it out there. And I think the same thing's going to happen with this. That happened to Batgirl, yeah, Batgirl, and
Yes.
some of the other properties. They're going to be erased from history because they want their money back, and they know they're not going to get it from releasing the movie. And with as much money as they've already spent on it, they'd have to spend twice that amount to get it out, and they know it's not going to return in revenue. So this movie is doubtful that it will ever come out
I
because of those
agree.
factors.
I agree with you. I think so. About removing the director, I do think that yes, that is one avenue. But I'm with you. I really do believe that we're starting to see the change, and I think, look, we're going to get a bunch of stuff that's already been filmed, right?
Yep. Well, we
And
already have. That's all we're getting is things that were filmed 3 years ago.
absolutely. And there's still some other things as well in the pipeline. And there's a lot of stuff that whether you want to talk about the DEI aspect, whether you want to talk about the gender swaps or whatever it is. Bottom line is yes, we're still going to get content, we're still going to get movies and shows that are going to be rough around the edges and stuff that probably is not popular. And but I think really I think we're going to start to see things moving forward. Companies getting back to making sure the writing is good, making sure that they don't try to push narratives. Um, and
Well, I mean, from what I've heard, they've already started cleaning house, or they
yes,
have cleaned house,
yes, at
and
at Disney in
and
particular, right?
well, yeah, and then we can talk about Disney animation here in a minute, right?
Yeah,
um, but they're trying to change gears, right? They're trying to go back to, okay, how do we become successful? What do the people want? How do we get this talent back?
right.
And unfortunately, what they've done is that they've burned a lot of good actors, and they've burned a lot of good potential actors because of what they've done to their friends or the people that they've admired. And so
That's
these
true.
people may not come back for another project because of what's happened through all this stuff.
I will say this to play a devil's advocate, so to speak. Now, uh, if you're Daisy Ridley, right? You did those three films. They pretty much broke your career. However, not that she's the same type of actor that uh, Mark Hamill is, because I don't think Mark Hamill was a great actor by any means. I think he's a very good voice actor, very great voice actor. I don't think he was a great actor. I'm not so sure Daisy Ridley fits into that category, but this could be a case for her of being the Luke Skywalker of the sequel trilogy and just her career. She wasn't the Harrison Ford, right?
Right.
Even Carrie Fisher, I mean, yes, she did some good movies after Star Wars, but ultimately it was Harrison Ford that won out in that whole thing.
Right.
And so, but my point is that if you're Daisy Ridley, um, you know, they drag you back out and say, we're going to do another one and you're going to be the focal point. And then you see all the feedback and you see that this is not what anybody wants. And as an actress, like why would you even want to go through with it other than to get paid? Like that
I mean,
literally would be
that's
the
what it all comes
only
down to,
reason.
right? And that's the only reason
Right.
Harrison Ford ever came back to do another Star Wars.
I
What's up, Legend
yes.
Series? Did you get my
Yeah.
Instagram message? Let me know, brother.
Yeah. Hit Matthew up. Don't leave him hanging. All right. So mean. Yes, Legend series is in the house. Love it, baby. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I saw that little story. This kind of got reported, and I think it's probably pretty true. Star Wars
I mean,
Holocron has
think about
reported
the
some
delays
things in
that
the
this movie's
past.
already gone through, and the frustration it's caused with the writers and the production staff that's
Yes,
already involved there. And the director's like, I'm moving on to other projects. If you're not
right.
happy with my direction or what I was going to do, then fine, go find somebody else. I'm done, and that's fine. I mean, that's what Disney wants
Right.
eventually, right? Is to probably write this off and try to get some of their money back.
Yeah, bottom line is, let me ask you this: if this movie came out in theaters, would you go see it?
To review it for the channel, yes. To see it
That
because
would
I want to see it, no.
that'd be the only reason why I would go
That would
see
be
it.
the only reason why I would go see it.
I am 100% with you in that. That would be the only reason I would
Eh,
go see that movie. There's
I mean,
nothing you're going to teach me, tell
yeah,
me, show me that makes me get excited or believe anything you're telling me.
she's a
Nothing.
Palpatine that usurped the Skywalker's name to
Yeah,
destroy the entire Skywalker legacy. That is the way the sequel trilogy ended.
that's it. I
And
mean, that's
and
it.
potential and if you think about it logically, the through line of that very last movie is she's not Rey anymore. She is actually Emperor Palpatine is in her
Yes.
to make her a Sith, and then she steals the Skywalker name. So she is the Sith, the Emperor in totality, because that's what the Emperor wanted her to do.
Yeah, it makes no sense. You
No, it
know
doesn't.
this because he's like,
Yeah.
strike me down. But then that doesn't like what is it? What was the result of that? Yes, no, that was oh God. And look, let's not even get into it. We could spend a really long time on that last film in particular, but
Yeah.
brutal, just brutal. I will tell you in a pure moment of honesty. I do not actually know someone personally in my life, whether that's a person at work who comes in to hang out, a regular, or anything like that. I don't know anybody that really actually enjoyed, particularly the last film, but really those three films. I don't know anybody in my life that would tell me, "No, man, those are good movies."
I know people that love The Last Jedi, and they will stand by that movie on every fiber of their being, and they've stood by that since it came out. And I was like, wait, but what about these problems? And they know they love that movie.
Yeah.
Even those people hate the last one. So there's no one that I know that I've ever met who has said that they liked the last one in that trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I have brought it up. I've talked about it many times, and yet I really do not know anybody who really enjoyed those movies. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that I called three-star draw the moment I walked out of the theater at Last Jedi. And I said, there are things you're going to like in this
Yeah.
movie. There are premises, there are thoughts that you will maybe enjoy. I was like,
Yeah.
it is really
Man,
interesting,
I,
but
I,
there's
I
gonna
will
be
tell
things
you,
you hate.
I was so pumped for The Last Jedi. I love the movie posters, the artwork. I love
Yes.
the production
Yes.
value that they threw into it. I loved so much about it. But when I walked out of that movie, I almost threw up. I felt like somebody punched me in the gut, and I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I mean, I had to text my buddy, and we were chatting back and forth, and my wife and I were talking about it because we just got out of the movie, and I'm like, I, this is terrible. I mean, this is awful.
I was
And
at a oh, go ahead, my bad.
I was like, the production value was amazing. There were so many things
I
visually
agree.
appealing in
I
that
agree.
movie,
Yes.
but there were so many things that were just like, none of that makes any sense.
Yes, that was my biggest thing. The
Yeah.
deconstruction of Luke Skywalker
Yep.
after we end the first movie, she's handing him the lightsaber, and then as
Yep.
soon as you come in, it's like, this is gonna be a comedy. Like, what? He just tosses it, and from then on, it was like,
Yep.
okay, that was interesting.
Yep.
In my mind, I thought, okay, we're going to obviously come back around. He's going to get it. That was just him being maybe pissed off or sore about something.
Yep.
And no, 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 no. And he continued to be a curmudgeon the entire way. And then, was I excited at the end when he fights Kylo Ren, and then you find out that he was using a force, projection and all that. I thought that was neat. I did, because I was like, oh wow,
Until it
okay, he's not
suicided
really
him.
there. until it literally unalived
Self
him,
delete.
and then he just vaporized. And I'm like, really? Is
Yeah,
that
no.
and how did he hand Leia the dice or the die
But he
if he
didn't.
was a force projection,
He
right?
didn't.
I thought he did. I thought he had him in his
They
hand, and he
disappeared.
handed them to her. Oh, okay. Well, goes to
Uh,
show me, damn Star Wars fan I am.
Christine, good on you. I'm glad you didn't put yourself through that.
Oh, no, listen, absolutely. Do not. Don't even worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't sweat about it. You ain't missing shit.
Yes, there were a lot of those cameos, and they put him in little cockpit scenes or whatever.
Yep.
And this is J.J. Abrams at his best. He's all about member berries that lead to nowhere. So he is the unfulfilling food. He's the candy, the sugar coated nonsense that gets thrown
Right.
at you. There's no substance to any of it. It's just to say, hey, look at this. Hey, remember this. Hey, doesn't this make you feel fuzzies?
Yes, very much so.
That
Does
is
it with
all
Star
J.J.
Trek,
Abrams knows how to do.
Super
Jar Jar
8,
Abrams.
whatever. And 3 Star says he did hand the die to her, and I'm gonna go with my cousin. Then they
Yeah,
disappeared. They were
right.
ghost dice. That's so stupid.
Yes.
It's so stupid. And
Yes.
the dice, they made a big deal out of those stupid ass dice that nobody gave a shit about. Okay, look, we're gonna get on a whole nother tangent if we keep up with this. Johnny
They thought it
Reno,
was another member berry,
that's
right? The
oh,
dice, because they were in the Falcon in the original movie,
yes,
right? So let's go ahead and
yes.
make those for
God,
real and sell them to people because it's a trinket,
we
because
have to
it's
make it
it's
a plot point.
merchandising, merchandising.
Yes.
Star,
We
Star Wars, the flamethrower. The kids are gonna love this one. I mean, come on.
They had to make it a plot point. It's
Yes.
like, what? Nobody even noticed or gave a shit about those before they made the movie and brought all that stuff up. Not many people are gonna go, "Did you see the dice hanging on the" and it's like, what is it, hanging on the rearview mirror? Like, what the
Yep.
fuck? What are we talking about? Like, this is so stupid. But anyway, so yes, look, Ray movie delayed. Maybe it's delayed forever. How about that? You wanna
Well,
talk
and
about
so
this?
this is the thing with Disney. They never cancel anything.
They do not.
They
That is
just
true.
put it on hold, put it on
Yes,
ice until people
they do
forget
not.
about it.
Put it on hold, and
Like Blade.
all the Marvel shit. Just a couple of years ago. I mean, if you'd have looked at their calendar for all the Marvel shows and movies that they were going to release and
That are
were
supposed
coming
to
out,
have been out by now.
absolutely, and yet you don't hear a word about them because they're
Nope.
not coming out. They've just disappeared, and
Nope.
they just move on, and they're going to go, okay, well, this is what the new thing is.
And I heard way back in June that Mahershala Ali walked off the Blade project and he wasn't coming back.
Oh
And
yeah,
and and
yeah.
then all this stuff starts coming out and it keeps getting delayed and all this other stuff. And like the movie's done. It's not
So,
happening.
um, yeah, no, it's not happening. Although Ryan Reynolds is trying to get a Blade movie made with,
With Wesley.
yes, I would be interested to see that. Now, let's not kid ourselves, folks. A 60-plus-year-old man spinning and cutting and chopping and jumping and all that stuff. Yes, they're the wonders of CGI and stunt
No.
doubles.
Not stunt doubles. Yeah, there you go.
You can make that stuff happen,
Yep.
but you do have to suspend your disbelief a bit because look, I wasn't the only one in the theater watching Wesley Snipes talk in the Daredevil or the Deadpool movie, and you could obviously tell he is an older man. Like,
Hey
there's
man,
no
he
cutting
still looks
around it.
good, man. He's
I'm,
doing
I'm
all
not saying he
right.
don't still look good, but when he talked, he sounded like an old man. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like he
Yeah. I
did.
mean,
You can't get
your
around
voice does
that.
change. Yeah, your
Crusty
voice
old
does change.
Crow is in
What's
the
up?
house there. Where is it at? There we go.
Hey.
Crusty. Oh, Crow, Woody, Triple, Deuce.
Ooh.
What is up, man? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see both of y'all, definitely. And it's good to see everybody here. Hit the like button. I'd tell
Bobby
you to
Wool just popped in.
oh shoot, there we go. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. I'm guessing Aaron might have ended his
I
stream a
guess
couple
so.
minutes ago. That could that be? Oh, wait a minute. That's funny. Look whose shirt I'm wearing. Oh crap. Aaron, the toy enhancer. Well, look at that. Oh my. Um, I like to represent. Got another one next week I'm gonna represent. But yeah, look, I'd love to see Wesley, but again, I
Yeah.
have to tell you that yes, he sounded old in Deadpool. And yes, they can work with that, but that's a hard thing to get over. And when you try to suspend your disbelief, there's a cognizance factor
Yep.
there where you know in your mind that, like, okay, I can go far. I don't know how far I can go.
Here's another thought process. Let's throw this out there. Mahershala Ali is not that much younger than Wesley Snipes. I mean, it's just a
Right.
couple of years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I
I
mean,
know. But oh man, look. Black don't crack, Matthew. You ever heard that?
I have
Black
heard that. Yeah.
black don't crack, brother. Trust me on that. Trust. Uh, so anyway, all right. So here's the deal. As we round turn number 2
So, Christine,
into
you were talking about that Star Wars short? Was that Star Wars theories? Where's it?
there
Yeah.
we go. Okay. That starts on his way. So
I
Star
mean,
Wars
there's a
fan
lot of fan
short.
shorts out there. Star Wars theories is probably the best.
Star Wars Theory is the best channel, the biggest Star Wars channel on YouTube. You have Wizards and Warriors that does a great job going through the battles that you can watch and learn the
Yep.
history and the things that happened in those events. So Wizards and Warriors, Star Wars Theory, obviously the big one. Great content. There are a few others, but right now I don't want to talk about many of them because I don't want to mention one of them in particular,
Yeah.
and I don't want to get confused and give you
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Let's
wrong
not get
one.
sidetracked.
So, but anyway, so here's the deal, y'all. In the chat, and we got about 19. We just jumped up big time, so y'all stick with us. How many of y'all have had an opportunity to watch The Penguin? How many of y'all have had an opportunity to watch The Penguin? And if you get a chance, type it in there. Tell me, hey, yes, got a chance to see it. It is on Max, otherwise HBO, but it is on Max. Not everybody has Max, and I fully understand that. Definitely, you got to be kind of choosy, especially
Did you
right
see the
now.
new bundle? There's
I
a
did not.
Disney
Oh, Gun
Hulu.
Bunny Customs is here.
Hey, what's
What's
up?
up? Hey, good to
There,
see you. There you go.
there's a Disney Hulu Max bundle now that they have out there. I've been getting
Okay.
advertisements for it, so you
Hey,
can bundle those
whatever.
three together, and so it might be a better option for some people if that's what you
Okay.
want. But
So, so real quick, seen a couple people. I know 3 Star Draw has seen it. Frostbite says haven't seen it, probably won't. Johnny Reno definitely does not normally watch animals, and I can understand that because I don't either. Uh, Gun Bunny says I watched it. It was awesome. So here's the deal, Gun Bunny. You're going to fall probably on our side. I have got a chance to text Matthew about this for sure. Woody says, pass for me, no penguin. Well, Woody, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if you have Max. I really don't. But I'm going to tell you, you need to watch this show. Would you agree with that sentiment, Matthew? Would you say, yeah, you need to tune into this as soon as you get an opportunity?
for the Penguin, I mean,
Yes.
it's a quality show. If you like the gangster genre, it's very much that, and the world building, the acting, the make effects are phenomenal. I can't tell you that there's a bad actor in this show because everybody is freaking killing it.
Yep.
The script is really well done. For the first episode that I saw, I haven't seen anything beyond that yet. The makeup effects on Colin Farrell are phenomenal, and he is killing it as an
He's killing
actor.
it, man.
And I
Killing
will tell you that I have always liked Colin Farrell, and there were a lot of people in the late 90s, early 2000s are like, oh, he's a scummy piece of trash or whatever. And I'm like, why? I mean, I like his performances. And then you find out what he does with his kid and all this other stuff. And he's a really good guy. And then he starts killing it with some of these performances. You know, he's been in some bad movies, but he's been in some great movies too. And so
Oh,
I've been impressed with
absolutely.
his career. So I
Yes.
heard you mention something about 3 stars opinion on.
He loved it. He is not a Colin Farrell fan. He does not care for him.
Yep.
We went back and forth with that. Look, I'm not a super simp for the guy, but there are things he's done that I do like and I
Yep.
appreciate as an actor. He's also an actor that kind of pretty much kind of keeps his mouth shut and just acts, and I really appreciate that. But I will say this. Right now, the show has an 89% Rotten Tomatoes popcorn meter, which is their new way for audience score, 94% from critics. I'm going to tell you, this first episode, and it is a wait and see, okay?
Yep. Yep.
Um,
But
but the first episode starts out really, really good. And then after that, you think, okay, we're gonna kind of have a lull here. We're gonna, it's gonna turn into some schlocky thing where there's no Batman and the penguin, the makeup, it's overacted and all that. Man, I'm gonna tell you, dude, I was gripped. I was gripped from the beginning through the middle and then the kid, because it goes from what happens in the beginning to him coming across the kids, right? To then you think, oh gosh, like this is, they're not pulling any punches. There's
yeah.
violence in this show, but there's also not some big action scenes, and it doesn't need it because
No.
95% of this show is talking. It's
Yep.
dialogue, and it's really well written dialogue. And
And
the
you know me in
acting is,
dialogue, man. I'm
yes,
a sucker for the dialogue.
me too. And the acting is fantastic, man.
Yes.
Like, look, I'm telling you, I did not expect much from this show. Anybody watching right now, I can fully understand why you'd say, what, a show about a rogues gallery villain that no Batman. They're not going to connect. They're not going to connect this. Is it connected to the Matt Reeves Batman that came out recently? Yes, it is. They do mention Batman
Yep.
just for 1 second. But this show is about Colin Farrell and his portrayal and his associations with the Falcone family, the Maroney family, and others. And it is freaking good. I'm telling you, treat yourself. Watch this show, one episode, come back next week and tell me you don't like it.
I
That's
can't
my
wait.
challenge.
I really can't wait to see what they do with Clancy Brown
Oh
as
my
Salvatore
gosh.
Maroni.
Yes.
I mean, watching him come in and pull this off, I'm like, oh, this was perfect casting. And he's played gangster villains and all kinds of that through BTAS, right? Through Batman the Animated Series. So he's got his chops in the Batman verse already. And so now him coming in as Salvatore Maroni, and it's like, oh, okay, so we've got a real gangster coming on here as a threat or
Right.
ally or whatever, however he's going to be used.
You already know he's playing it, right?
Oh
He's
yeah,
playing the game. He knows what he's doing. You don't. So when you're watching this show, they'll give you the impression, and I'm not really spoiling anything. They'll give you the impression that he kind of don't really know what he's doing. Maybe he's in over his head. This is not the Oswald Cobblepot that you and I know from Batman history as being like this big man and running it or this and that and whatever. This is a soldier in a gang of a gangster gang. This is a soldier, and it's grounded. He's just plays it so well. He pulls this kid in with him too. I get it, Woody, not being a DC guy. I do love some Batman. I'm a big Batman fan. I love the Rogues Gallery. Uh,
I mean,
I
Batman and
was
Spider-Man have the best rogue gallery of any
right.
character
And
ever, and
Woody,
I think Batman's wins out over
I
Spider-Man's.
do too. And I would tell you, Woody, put the DC side, put part aside.
Yep.
Like, put that aside. Put aside any misgivings you might have about the lead actor. Whatever you think about it,
You
put that
won't. I mean,
aside.
you don't even recognize him, so he
No,
won't even.
yeah,
He doesn't
yeah, it
look
doesn't
like
matter.
Colin Farrell, so
He
you
ain't
can
a pretty
imagine that it's
face,
not even Colin Farrell.
damn straight. And look, like I said, 3-star show
Yeah,
is fucking
yeah.
badass. I despise Colin Farrell as an actor, but yes, and he said it's flawless. Yeah, it really is. There's even a kid in it. Now, look, I don't know how old this kid is. He's portraying a teenager. He's probably a 25-year-old, 28-year-old kid. I don't know.
Whatever.
But bottom line is, he does a great job in it too. He surprises you as well, right? Like he shows up and he surprises you, and it's really
My my favorite parts
Worth it.
are I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to spoil it exactly, but I'm going to tell you that he goes into a situation and he's the man, he's doing his thing, he's doing whatever, and then all of a
Right.
sudden he gets caught doing something that by somebody who's like, oh crap, but he flips it on a dime. He flips over, and
Unbelievable.
you see how he's manipulating everyone from the very
Yes.
beginning,
Yes.
and things pop up, and they change his entire plan or perception of what the events are happening, and he rolls with those punches, and how he chameleons into this. You see how charismatic he is. You see how manipulative he is as he switches roles to fit the situation to make everybody feel comfortable enough with him that he can get off doing his plan. And
Right.
it's brilliant writing. It's incredible acting, and Falcone's daughter, she was amazing.
Oh,
She
yes.
pulls off the perfect, I'm a psycho,
Yep.
but I'm getting by in this world. But you're going to know that I'm a psycho, and you're going to fear me because I'm a psycho, and you don't know what I'm going to do.
Perfect kind of crazy.
Yes,
Christine, real quick, Gotham scared you off. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually did enjoy Gotham.
I did
Um,
too.
I
I
actually really enjoyed it. I love the guy who played the Penguin in that as well. And I think as it went on, it there were some things in there, but I did enjoy Gotham as a show. I did keep up with it. I did watch it every week. I made it a point to watch it. That was the
I
last appointment television for me, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
right. I agree. I enjoyed the first season and the last season. The stuff in between, I can give or take,
Yep.
right? But the
Yep.
first
Yep. Yep.
season and the last season, I thought was really well done, and I really did like that guy who was playing the Penguin in that
Uh,
show. I
no, I really did too. I did.
Yeah.
I love that character. I wanna say hi to Nolan real quick too. Hey,
Hey,
Nolan, thanks
Nolan,
for rolling in. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out, and
you got to
stopping
come
by.
join us on the next Punk's Pit, man. I mean, we miss seeing you on
Yeah.
camera.
It'd be the first Friday of every month from now
Yep,
on is what the
that's the
plan
plan.
is. Yeah,
Yep.
man. So yeah, no, and so, for me, look, HBO/Max, whatever you wanna call it, they know how to do series, man. Like,
Yes,
they
they do.
just do, and have
I
they.
mean, they created the Sopranos, right? So they've got experience with
Yes.
gangster stuff. They got experience with superhero stuff. They got
Yes.
experience with fantasy stuff. The people that are in the production side of HBO's stuff always been high quality, phenomenal stuff. Whether you like it or not, the material, that's one thing, but the production value that they put into it is really good.
Man.
And these are the freaking best makeup effects that I have seen in probably 25 years.
It's really good. It totally transforms him. Sharlock is in the house. What's up,
What's
Sharlock?
up?
Um, yeah, it really is. Look, yes, Shane, it's definitely not Danny DeVito. I'll give you that. But this is a completely different type of take, right? It's like
Yeah,
comic books. You've got your
right,
different comics and they're gonna have your different takes, right? And all that. It's not a multiverse, right?
right.
But it's got your different takes, and this is a different take. I do appreciate it. I didn't know what I was going to think about this going in, but I'm glad I watched it. I can't wait for episode 2. I can't wait really to see how this really plays out.
Yeah,
Um, I just look, watching this show reminded me, Matthew, of a Breaking Bad, a
yeah.
Better Call Saul, Game of Thrones season 1 through 3. Um, you know, other shows that really, even some American Horror Story, whatever it is, like, just from a writing perspective,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and they're not afraid in this
No,
show for him to be a certain way and
yep,
act a certain way and say certain things. And
yep,
and it just grounds it so well. I know a lot of people are they don't want that grounded, gritty Batman after the Nolan trilogy and after this most recent Matt Reeves production a couple years ago. People kind of maybe want to go the other way. They want to get away from that gritty, realistic Batman dark
Not,
thing.
and some people have put it off correctly. And it's like, we don't want Adam West campy Batman, but we don't want grounded reality Batman. We want Batman the animated series Batman, right? Like
Right.
that's the best Batman that's ever been put on screen.
Right.
And now if you can translate that to live action, I think you got something really special here. I just wanted to address Sherlock real quick
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Why'd they change his name? Well, there's a couple of theories that I have on it. Why they changed his name? They're just shortening it, number one. And number two, he could be trying to hide the fact that he's a Cobblepot,
Right.
right? So he goes by Cobb instead because Cobblepot is a wealthy family, well-known name in Gotham. Now, they could play off of that and they could bring Paul Rubens in again for the third time to play Cobblepot's father, right? If they wanted to.
Well, they
Right?
can't now.
Well, okay. But
I mean, he's no longer with us.
yeah,
Did you
but
just pull an Eric July? Sean Connery moment.
yeah, Sean Connery, yeah.
All right. Anyway, yeah, no. I'm with you. I think that theory does hold up. Maybe he's trying to hide that. Obviously, this has been one episode. I will say this, Matthew, and good on HBO. And I heard this earlier today on the Real BBC. But um, this is this is bold of them to just put out the one episode, right? How often do we see now shows come out and they show you the first two episodes or the first three episodes, right?
Yeah,
Because they have to give you two episodes to try to draw you in. This
right.
show says, here's one episode. This
Yep,
is what you've got. We're confident in this show, and you're gonna like it. And I'm
yep,
I'm telling you guys, man, check it out. You're going to enjoy it. I promise you. It is
yep,
again, it harkens back to when writing in Hollywood was very good and it put story over agenda,
yep.
you
Well,
know,
I
and
mean,
hopefully that stays. Hopefully that maintains. We will
yeah.
see.
I mean, it looks like it's really about the characters and the development
Yeah.
and the process and building this world. I mean, the what they're doing for Matt Reeves' sequel is phenomenal. If they continue the growth of Gotham, right?
Right.
And what they could do with this is really quite interesting if they still keep mentioning the Batman, right? He's never going to show up. That's fine,
Right.
but they have to mention him because he puts fear in the minds of criminals, right? And well, Batman is redefining his way of doing things in this time frame of this TV show. It can lead directly into the Matt Reeves sequel as Batman comes out as the Batman that we know, right? Instead of the Matt
Yep.
Reeves Batman.
Yes. And if they're able to parlay this to help kind of set up that next movie and flesh some things out without
Yep.
just and also making it here's the deal. Because this is a mistake Marvel made. In order to watch the newer movies they're putting out in phase 4 or whatever,
Yep.
like you had to see those TV shows.
Phase
Be-
4.
And exactly. And so that's the problem is that, it's like, oh, well, I didn't see WandaVision. Well, in Multiverse of Madness, why the hell is she over here? Why is Doctor Strange asking her these questions or giving her this conversation? You're like, what the hell happened? I don't know what happened. And other shows, it's like you had to know what happened in Loki, or you had to know this. This I don't think they're going to do that with. This can stand on its own, and it can also set up maybe that next installment into the Batman movie. But you're right. Batman strikes fear. He doesn't even have to be there.
Right.
People are so afraid of him in the shadows that he's watching that they're scared to death. And just the mere mention of his name in this show without showing him is enough for me,
Right.
and hopefully what they go with. I did want to highlight a couple things here while we're kind of in the middle of it.
Yeah,
And
just playing off what you're saying there. That's exactly the way they set up the Batman, at least in the first part of the
yeah,
movie,
the first
right?
part, the first act of the movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and so to play off of that and keep that thing going, while we know in the background he's redefining his character and what he wants to do and stuff.
Right,
I think that's a really good to take with this. And if they keep
right.
it to one season and they keep it one season and they're done with it in one season, I'll be very happy with it if it leads into the next Batman movie and Matt Reeves does that story in his world and it's separate from the James Gunn Batman. And I know it can be
Yes,
confusing to some people. I think it would benefit
yes,
them to do that.
yeah. No, I agree with you. And right here, Bobby Wold's talking about the new Batman animated series that's on Max that just came out. You and I talked about that several
Yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah, I know.
Um, it is disappointing.
Yeah,
It really is, and I think anybody who would kid themselves into thinking that this is a rejuvenation or
nope,
a paying homage to the original animated series is just
nope,
fooling themselves. I agree with
yep,
you too. Getting to episode 2 and your brain checked out. I did watch the whole thing, but that's because I like to punish myself
yep.
for this or whatever. Yeah, but we did talk about that show, and both of us, yeah, are there moments? Sure, but ultimately they made way too many changes for me to be that
Well,
interested in.
and it just proves who was the true impetus behind that show. And it was
Yes,
the guy who's missing from this show. And when
right.
you have Jar Jar Abrams and somebody who is good at art design but not good at storytelling working on the show, you're missing out. You're
Yeah,
missing a lot of the stuff.
what they did with Harley Quinn and
No,
with
yeah,
her, yeah, nah, come on, get out of
Harley
here.
Quinn only ever worked in the Batman the Animated Series.
That's
That's
it.
the only time she has ever been successful. It's the only time she's ever really worked because everybody else just tried to change her into something else, something that she is not.
Right.
She is a psychologist who got enthralled with her patients so much that it twisted her mind into becoming a sycophant for the psychopath.
Yes.
And that is her entire character, and it can be interesting to go down that road, but to change it into something else is disingenuous to who the character is, and it just doesn't work as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I did see this comment here. Christine says Rome. That was an amazing show. Two
Yeah, it was.
seasons, 2 seasons, and what's funny is back then they had to cancel Rome after 2 seasons because it was too expensive to film.
Yeah.
Too many extras and location and all that
Yep.
stuff, and they had to
I've
cancel after 2 seasons. But I loved Rome.
I've got one
Loved
from
Rome.
same time. I think he's a little behind. I think he's a little behind
Sure.
because I said that a long time ago. That was a while ago.
Yeah,
So
that's a good one.
okay, hopefully you're watching on 1.5 or 2x to catch up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I God knows I've done that so many times. I've done punk streams like that as well. 3 Star says, yeah, speaking of HBO and Clancy Brown, still sad that Carnival got canceled. You're not the only person that remembers
Yeah.
that show.
No,
No,
yeah,
not by any
I
means.
actually enjoyed what I saw of that. I didn't see much of it, but yeah.
It was not one of their biggest,
Right.
well known, right?
Yeah.
But I remember that show for sure. And uh And then yeah, the just scrolling down. Oh, this one I did want to highlight. Shane, I'm with you. The new 52, get out of here with that mess. Like
You know what?
there
Okay, so
there's some I like. There's
The Court
some
of
I like.
Owls story,
Yes, I have it sitting right over
awesome.
behind me. Yes.
And Snyder and Capullo did a great job of that, and I thought that was truly fascinating,
Yes.
especially tying it back to Dick Grayson and his father. And I thought that was all very interesting. But other than that, I didn't really read much of the New 52 because none of it looked good.
No, but again, and I've told people many times, look, I have several of the Batman graphic novels. I've got several of the like part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Court of Owl series, all that.
Yeah.
The Hush graphic novel. I mean, there's many that I have. I love them. I have some 4 of them that I haven't even read yet.
Ha!
But so not all of the New 52, but
Yeah.
but most of it I've not been a fan of.
Right.
Um, but there
And
are definitely
actually,
ones that I
was
like.
it New 52 Nightwing? I guess
Yeah.
no, or what was
Which
the
one
one
are you talking
after?
about?
Which one was the one after New 52? What was it called after that? Uh,
Man, I don't know.
Anyway,
I'd have to
you
look
know,
it up.
my wife's a big Nightwing fan, so
Oh,
I've
that's
been picking that
cool.
up since
Oh, that's
forever.
cool as hell, man.
She
That's
has the
awesome.
all of the original issues of the Teen Titans and some of that stuff. So I started getting all the Nightwing books for her, and then the
Yeah.
collected editions of the Teen Titans books, and she loves those. So I also got her the Mofex um, Dick Grayson Nightwing,
Okay.
and
I mean, dude, that no, I think that's fantastic though. Yeah, like yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Harley being a sidekick, 3-star, and that's pretty much it. There's Aaron. There he is. I got your shirt on, buddy. Got your shirt. I'm representing, fool. Good to see you though, man. Obviously, and I'm guessing your stream ended a little bit ago or whatever. I'm glad you stopping by, man. For sure. So yeah, I mean, again, bottom line is that I do really enjoy this. It is one episode, so proceed with caution. I think that's
yep,
these days that's just how you have to go about it.
yep,
But so far so good, and I mean so far so really good. I was hooked and laughing, right? There's comedy.
yeah,
Really like it's funny. It's great character building, great world building, and they put you right in the middle of it, dude, and it pulls no punches. He is not a great character per se, morality wise,
right. You know
and
he's a bad
and
guy.
he's a bad guy, but I think his emotions get the better of him on occasion instead of thinking things through, so to speak.
Yeah, but
But
Mama approves, so it's all right.
Mama approves, and the kid that he recruits does a wonderful job in that role, and he comes through. That's all I'm gonna say. He comes through. I don't want to spoil it. He
Hey,
comes
you know
through.
what? I mean, that kid reminded me of the young man that Sly Stallone recruits in Tulsa King. So there were some Tulsa King
Oh,
references that
speaking of
I
which,
felt like they
guys,
were pulling from.
next week we're gonna talk some Tulsa King too.
Go
That's
check it out, guys. If you haven't
Sly
watched first season,
Stallone.
go watch first season, and then there's a couple episodes of the second season out. So go
Yes.
check that out too, guys.
Yeah, Tulsa King. That's it's Paramount, right?
Yes.
Paramount Plus.
Yep.
But yes, Tulsa King is a great show, and it is really. I could see Sly Stallone having so much fun with that role. So we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna pull up a couple, hopefully a couple interviews of him talking about that role as well. And so that'll be fun to talk about next week. And yes, it is season two, three
Two
stars
episodes.
already,
Yeah,
two
two episodes
episodes
are
in.
out.
But what a fun show! And
Yep.
that's a show that's really, really funny as well. Like you'll be laughing, you'll get a big kick out of it. He is so good, and no problem, Aaron. Absolutely, for sure, man. Got to represent, baby. But yeah, again. 94% critic score, 89% Rotten Tomatoes as far as the audience score is concerned, or the popcorn meter as they've changed it now. So yeah, do yourself a favor, watch the Penguin, get back to us next week and tell us we're wrong. Just tell us we're wrong, and I'll be glad to invite all valid criticism and conversation about it. I will. Absolutely. I'd love to hear your take, anybody's take on it for sure. And then let's see here. Let's get this bad boy off the screen, shall we? So so I wanted to talk about this movie I saw today, Matthew. I went to see this movie today. This movie has gotten some legs recently. It's a mockumentary, so to speak, in the vein of Borat. Okay, somewhat Bruno Borat, whatever. Um, any of you guys know who Matt Walsh is? Okay, Matt Walsh, Daily Wire. He's
Horrible
done
takes on pop culture.
horrible takes on pop culture and video games. But I went to see this movie today called Am I Racist? Now, it has grown in the number of theaters that it's in now because people have been going to see this movie. It is a comedy. It is an absolute comedy. Now, what this movie is about is it is someone who decides to go and look into the world of race grifting. Now, uh, I think we all could say, is there work to be done in this country? Uh, sure. But are things as bad as the media and people that we see on TV say they are?
All I have to say is go to a foreign country and live there for a while and
Right.
see what kind of racism exists,
Right.
outlandish racism that exists in every other country or nation.
Right.
You can't go to a place
Compared
in
to here.
you can't go to a place in Japan that there are some areas that will say if you're not Japanese, don't walk in these doors.
Yeah, no,
You know,
and think about the fact of like when yes, back in the 60s we had different water fountains, we had different bathrooms, we had different restaurants, we had different right. And one thing that Matt Walsh brings up in this movie that I found interesting, a comment he made, a quote, or he says, growing up in the 90s, um, him and his friends, and he had a lot of different friends and multicultural friends. He did not really think about race. Like it didn't get brought up. They just played together. They listened to music together. They went to concerts together, all kinds of music, whatever, just that. But it just didn't get brought up. And I thought about that, and I thought about the fact of if going back and just kind of reviewing television, pop culture, my friends, people I dealt with, right? Going to the grocery store, me going to work, whatever. Um, this has become a phenomenon in our country since 2020. It's become a phenomenon because in concert, our politicians and our media, in particular, mainstream media, along with some popular figures who have written some books and some New York Times bestsellers, all in concert use fear, fear of cancellation, fear of being ostracized, fear of being uh, othered from your job or your social circle or whatever. They use fear to really perpetrate that there's this huge racial divide in our country. Now, like I said at the top, I'm not saying there's not things that need to be done per se, but I don't think that it is at the epidemic levels that are perpetrated by these people. Now, this movie goes into him dressing undercover and putting a man bun on and glasses and skinny jeans and no socks with his loafers and dressing up like what he would describe as like a progressive. Okay. Not every progressive dresses like that. We know that. It's part of the joke. This is a comedy. But he infiltrates some of these seminars that people give that charge $1,500 a session, $3,000 a session, $15,000 to go to a white guilt session, to go to a session where you go to dinner with a black woman and an Indian woman, and they tell you how you are inherently racist because you are white, not because of your experiences or how you've lived or how you treat people. Just because you are white, you are inherently racist and you don't know it yet. And that's why you pay uh, $3,000 to go to a dinner for someone to tell you that. And by him experiencing these things firsthand, and also, yes, turning it on its head and making a comedy out of it, because at the end of the day, I think most people are just normal, hardworking, everyday people. And I think that the vitriol that this movie has gotten from the press is really unfair because by no means goes overboard on one sense and really denigrates anyone or really truly puts someone out to be a horrible person, but it just provides a perspective that the media and politics really perpetrate this so that they can keep us divided from each other. It keeps us uh, not paying attention to what we really need to pay attention to. And I do firmly believe that. I do encourage anyone to go see this movie. I will tell you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, it was an empty theater, which makes sense for any movie. Okay. But uh, what I really thought was really funny and just indulge me. I bought my ticket on my phone, and I had to go up and scan the ticket. And when I got to the theater and I went to scan my phone, it was a black gentleman that was scanning the tickets. And of course, I'm scanning my ticket. He pulls it up on the tablet in big 10 inches, and it says, "Am I racist?" And here I am, late 40s white guy, going to see a comedy called Am I Racist? And I thought the irony of it was just so funny. And what was also funny is when the movie ended, as I'm walking out, and there's only one other person in the theater, and he had left far before I did. There's an after credit scene for anybody that goes to see it. Um, as I'm walking out, that same dude was standing there with the trash bin on wheels as I'm walking out. And I was like, and listen, anybody that knows me, and they know who I am, and they know what I'm about. They know what kind of lingo I use. They know I use a lot of old school phrases. They know I joke around. And my instinct is how I would greet and talk to anybody else at my bar as I was walking out. And he said, he said, "Man, have a good day." I said, "Man, you take it easy, brother." And what's so it's so stupid, but in my mind, it was like, "Oh, that's just priceless." Right? I'm walking out of this damn movie. He probably's like, "This fucking movie. What the fuck? Who's going to see this shit?" Maybe not. Probably not, actually, especially if he had seen it, because it really is truly funny. And but I just thought, oh, just classic, right? He scanned my ticket on the way in. He's greeting me on the way out. I just thought it was just so much fun. I did not call him a jive turkey, but I will tell you right now, 3-star draw. I've said that at work. I've called people that at work. I've called them a jive turkey. They look at me like I'm crazy, but that's because they're too young to
I was
understand.
gonna say they probably don't even know what that
Don't even know
means.
what I'm talking about. And real quick, I did want to say hi to War Chest Full of Toys dropping by too, man. I really, really appreciate you, buddy, always. But nonetheless, it was just so funny to me. But honestly, man, guys, look, don't let the media scare you. Don't let a title scare you. Don't let see what you want to see, watch what you want to watch, form your own opinion. That it's what's so freaking worries me about this country now, and I don't want to get in deep, is that people read a headline and they don't read the article.
Right.
They see who posted something and they go, "Oh, I hate that son of a bitch. So I
Yep.
don't want to know anything he has to say." It's do your research,
Yep.
explore, get both sides of the story. It's okay to laugh, right? It's okay
Yep.
to laugh at ourselves. I'm telling you, there's merit in this movie. The critics give it a 73%. I can understand why. I'm not going to read the critic reviews. I know why they're giving it 73%. But
The 90s created the soundbite generation where everything was recorded and used against you. It chopped up and used against you, taken out of context, and it's been the way ever since. And it is the way of the world these days. So if you don't look into it and try and figure it out for yourself, what's going on here? Did they say that? What was the context of them saying that? What was the event? You have to take in everything around what they said to really
yes,
understand what the meaning of it was. And if you do that, you will change your perspective on almost anything that anyone in the media, whatever side you're on represents.
There's nothing wrong with empathy,
Yep.
right? There's nothing wrong with being empathetic, with trying to see the other side of a situation. It doesn't mean you have to change your views, doesn't mean you have to change your beliefs. Because I know I won't, doesn't mean I won't understand someone else's point of view. But my point is, and Bobby, look, see, Bobby and Charlotte both, this just got a rating. So
Yep.
on Rotten Tomatoes, you have to understand. Chris Gore from Film Threat was talking about this the other day. It takes 5 critic reviews for a film to get a review score from Tomato Meter on Rotten Tomatoes. It
Yep.
had 9 reviews, and yet they had it grayed out. There
Yep.
was no critic score. So they
Yep.
were violating their own policy because they didn't want to put a critic score up for this. And then finally now it has 11 critic reviews. No critic wants to review this movie because they're scared of the mob. There is a YouTuber named Jeremy Johns who did review this movie and
Yep.
he liked it. And there was a cancel mob after him trying to demonetize his channel and deplatform him. Now, this is a guy who has well over 1 million subs.
Yep.
Very popular. Great reviewer. Jeremy Johns, Jahns. He is fantastic. I implore you to go watch his stuff too. He is awesome. He liked it. He didn't. All he said he liked it. It was funny, and the
No, no,
mob went
I want to.
after
I got to
him.
correct you. I got to correct you here. Sorry. He was under 2 million before it happened. Lost about a
Oh, my
thousand,
bad.
but
Lost
now
about a
he's
thousand.
over 3 million.
Yeah. So yeah. See how
Or
that
two
works?
million. Sorry, 2 million
Over
subscribers.
2 million. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's like all of a sudden he lost a few subs. Everybody said, "Oh, he's dropping subs because he liked this movie." And he got them right back because there's
Yep.
more people out there. So we can't just let you know people just determine for you what you can and can't watch, what you can and can't enjoy. And this movie is funny and it's worth going to see. And yes, I went to the theater by myself, but it was very funny. I really laughed. There are some just amazing freaking moments in this film and moments of like contradiction. You see
Yep.
these people who are spouting this nonsense, and then he literally makes them speechless. So he makes a woman who has a New York Times bestseller, go get her purse in the middle of an interview and give his black producer named Ben $30 out of her wallet because he's saying, well, I'm going to give you, he gives him like $12 for reparations. And then she says, and he says, well, what are you going to do? And she's like, well, no, the system, we have to, it's systemic, right? And he says, no, I just literally paid reparations directly to him. That's something I personally did. Don't you want to do the same? And you see this woman just running these scenarios in her mind and literally gets up and goes over and takes money out of her purse and hands it directly. And this kid is in on the thing. He's a producer for him, but it's just there's many moments like that. It's so funny. I say, man, you guys need to see it. It is
Yep.
absurd. The greatest joke on film was in American Werewolf in London, told at the Slaughtered Lamb Pup. Um, I had to go back and watch that. I hadn't seen it in a long time. But
Love that movie.
but nonetheless, yeah, man. Look, I'm telling you, go see it, spend the money. And it's good to promote films like this. This is not a tentpole. It's not a blockbuster. It's
Right.
not a Marvel movie. It's not a A24. It's not a whatever, right? The same old schlock, the same sequels, the same prequels, the same, trequels, the same
Well,
in tweakles. Like it's
yeah,
all the same shit.
this is the time for independent film to
Yes.
rise up, and people out in the middle of nowhere, whatever, low distribution, whatever, outside of Hollywood, making films, making something of quality, to get people to recognize it and go enjoy it. So I mean, I've always loved independent film, and this is one of those things that I really want to see this movie. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to, but I've wanted to see it because I've heard so many good things about it, and I'm like, okay, this is a word of mouth thing. This is an independent thing. This is going to grow.
Oh, and it has
Yep.
grown, and they're adding more screens, and it will look. It's going to be on VOD, right? It
Yep.
will be at some point in time. However, um, if you get a chance to support it in the theater, I would say absolutely. If not, I understand, right? Like, hey, just wait. It's going to come out on streaming. That's a fun way, obviously. Smile 2, I saw the poster for a 3-star draw as I was walking out of the movie theater, and I was like, what the hell is that? It's another one of those, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody took a picture of a smile and then it goes from one person to the next and they die with a hideous smile on their face or something weird like that. It's one of those, right? Like it's yeah.
Sounds like the Jokerized version.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and look, Clint, I I've already started that story for my show on Friday. So if you want to come back Friday about Janet Jackson, I've already started that and emailed myself for that
We didn't
to
even talk
talk
about
about it.
Jennifer, whatever, Jennifer Lee,
Jennifer Lee. Wait,
Disney
what?
animation.
Oh, well, shit. Let's dig into it, Matthew. Hang on a second. I was wanting to say, I was wanting to save this real quick here. Um, but yeah, we can get into it. Absolutely. If you want to kind of prep everybody real quick, I can absolutely pull up the information for that.
Recently there was a change in Disney Animation's
Yes.
structure, and the top person in terms of Disney Animation was laterally moved. She was demoted, whatever you want to call it. She was removed from her position because her process of wanting to get um, equality in representation of female directors and writers, and so she fired all of the old white guys that knew how to do animation and tell stories, and hired a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing to fill quota boxes. And Disney Animation has tanked.
Yep.
Inside Out 2 was one of the biggest successes because they went back in and they pulled out some stuff that they thought would be offensive to the general public or the general public didn't want to see. And that movie made more money than any other movie this year, I believe. Um,
Yes.
and so they said, okay, you're out, and they took her subordinate and put him in charge of it.
Yeah.
Now
Jared
this
Bush.
Jared Bush, and now Jennifer's going to go back here and she's going to write Elsa's Frozen 3 and 4, right? That's
Yes.
still on her docket to do, and she did well with the first one. She did okay with the second one, but who knows what's going to happen with the next two, because I believe her plan is to subvert and sabotage the new person in power, because he was a subordinate to her up until the point of his promotion. But they put this guy in charge, and he's going to be trying to redirect the ship of Disney Animation. And this goes into the whole story of all this other nonsense that you're talking about, this political agenda, this cheapest person that we can hire to put in the position, who's destroyed the whole thing. But
Right.
she was not the best person to put in charge of it, but she was the one that was put in place when they decided to get rid of John Lasseter, and they trumped up some charges for overemphasizing how friendly he was with people and making that sound in a sexual context, and they got rid of him.
Yeah. A
And he
hugger.
uh,
He's a
he
hugger.
he liked to hug people.
Yes.
That's it. He would greet people. He liked physical contact. Okay, he's hugging people. Some people didn't felt that was uncomfortable and that was sexual harassment. They felt pressured by it, and so they fired him. One of the greatest storytellers and animators of this generation.
Yep.
And ever since he left, Pixar has not been the same. And then when Disney bought Pixar, Disney put their spin on it and put Jennifer Lee in charge.
Now, as far as Jared Bush, and look, I like Zootopia. I liked Encanto. There are, things about both those films I'd say if you really want to dig, maybe you'll find whatever.
Zootopia is great. I love
But
Zootopia.
I liked both of those films just fine. I thought they were fun. He's been with the company since 2014. He's got 10 years in. Really, I think that the really the moral, the ultimate thing is that, they need to get back to being a family brand that families trust having their kids watch their content for children, because they have just hitched their wagon to trying to educate your kids about sexual content and gender and other things.
And define your parents.
Yes.
There's been a large stint of defy your parents because the kids know better mentality, and that goes back into Logan's Run. It goes back into killing everybody after they turn over 30, right? Because they
Oh
have too
yeah.
much experience, they know too much, and they might be a threat to the administration. And the people in power don't want that. Whatever. You get into a whole bunch of weird stuff with the stuff that they've been trying to promote over the last several years. I don't know that Disney can bring themselves back from that. No matter how well that they do with a couple films here and there, I sure hope for the next generation, or the next 10 or 15 years at least, people are going to monitor this content more strictly before they let their children consume it, because there's so many things out there that is being promoted as children's content that is not children's content. And that
Agreed.
is so many things on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
If it's labeled Star Wars and they say it's kids content, sometimes it's really not. Same thing with Marvel. Same thing with a lot of other stuff that's out there right now. So you have to be diligent as a parent to screen this stuff or learn about it from trusted sources
Yeah.
before you let your kids see it, because they're trying to twist things into unrealistic representations that will confuse and cause strife in your family.
Well, and like Shane says, they need to get back to basics.
Tell a
You
story,
know,
please.
Yeah, let's just get back to hiring people who know how to write good stories and entertaining people. And let's
Yep.
leave the messaging at the door. That doesn't mean there haven't been messaging in movies before. There haven't been climate activists who made a film about that in a roundabout way, but it's how you do it. It's
Yeah.
there's a way to get your message across without hitting somebody with a sledgehammer, and lately it's been the sledgehammer technique, and
Yep.
people are done with it. They're just
You
over it.
you go back to some of my favorite films of all time. I could name a whole list of them, and you look at the directors and the writers of those properties and how they present themselves currently, and maybe that's because of current motifs, but when they wrote those things back in the 80s, um, they did it to make something that was entertaining, but something that's going to tell a story. And sometimes they'll say that they had this same agenda that they currently have in those properties when they wrote them. I don't know if that's
Right.
actually true or not, but at the same time, you can see some of those elements that they were trying to present, but they were trying to do it in a palatable way, a storytelling, a narrative consistent way. And when you do it that way, it's more engaging because you can see it and you're like, okay, well, that totally makes sense. But when you take it to the nth degree and you make it unrealistic, and then people are like, well, no, that's you've disrupted my suspension of disbelief. I can't get back into it because you've destroyed the narrative, because you've gone
Right.
so far beyond what this world has set up or what reality is that I can't coincide with what this story is. But some things are built on the fantastical, and through fantastical means you can tell all kinds of interesting
Yeah, there's
stories
plenty.
if you do it narratively consistent.
Right. I mean, look, it's whether that's Lord of the Rings, whether it's a hero's journey, in Star Wars, or other stories. I mean, it's there's still some stories, classic tales that I don't think will ever get old. But what we've seen is a lot of those things being perverted and then flipped inside out, or deconstruction in particular has been a big one lately, and all in the effort to tell a message. And as we've seen and continue to see, people are tuning out. And so
Yep.
hopefully moving forward, we'll start to see things, the needle kind of come back to the norm,
Yep.
And companies are about making money. And when they're
Well,
not
one would
making
hope.
money, they are going to have to change to make money. That's
Well, it
just
it,
how it
it
is.
it it depends on how many communists they get in their company. But
Well,
anyway,
yeah. Anyway,
you,
so
you you hit another buzzword for me. You said deconstruction, and I will say the death of every single art form or genre has come with deconstruction.
yeah,
Once you start the deconstruction process, you cannot undo it, and that medium or that genre is forever tainted by the deconstruction. And anything good that comes after that is a resemblance of what came before, but it's more bitter. Then there's no hopefulness, there's no joy, there's no fun in it
definitely
anymore,
written that
even if
way
it's
now.
good.
Yes, no, you're right. Definitely written that way now. Much
Well, no,
more bitter.
I'm talking about to the deconstruction era of art in the early 1900s. And that's when it really started, and
But
it's progressed through everything. So you say deconstruction, and it applies to every single medium that there is, and you see it absolutely happening today in the film and television industry.
absolutely, yes. Yes. Um, real quick, just kind of looking at some chat here. I did like this Super Friends in the 70s hit up climate change all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they God, loved some Super Friends. I'm sure most all
we
of us did back
we
in the
just got finished watching Thundar the Barbarian, the
Yeah, you
entire
told me
series
about
on
that. Yeah,
Blu-ray, and it looked phenomenal. My daughter loved it. It was great
Thundar.
storytelling. It was so much fun.
I remember those episodes also, man. Yeah, Shane Black movies all have the "I am wiser and smarter than the adult" trope in all his films. Christine, and then what is this here? Oh, yeah, 100. No more sledge-o-matics. Yeah, the sledgehammer just. I don't know. It's the sledgehammer theory in my mind is now people there's no deafness, there's no thinking in other words, a lot of these creators and artists, whether they're comic book artists, whether they're animators, whether they're film producers or directors, whether they're video game devs, they think you are really stupid. They all think you are very stupid. And therefore, they have to handle you with kid gloves. They have to treat you like a child. They have to beat you over the head with something as if you're trying to train a dog or a small child not to touch the oven or the stove or whatever. That's what they think of you as an audience. They don't
Yep.
respect your time. They don't respect your intelligence. And therefore, this is how they write stories. This is how they tell stories. This is how they film things because they treat you like a child. The audience no more has the respect of the creators and the smartness enough. It's why you see in a lot of video games now, there's 2 hours worth of a tutorial intro in a damn game that shows you how to press every button and climb every wall and look for every item and hit the scan button and over and over and over. They don't trust you enough to just let you go and figure it out on your own. They
And
have to treat you like a child now.
here's the thing with that too. I mean, this is all philosophical, right? I mean, you go back into it and you think about it for just 2 seconds, and you realize that there's this thing called cognitive dissonance, and it's a thought process of, you know, you're put in this horrible situation, but you make the best of it, right? It is the fact that something becomes worthwhile to you because you have decided that it is of value, that you've determined that value, and then you would try to strive to achieve that value, even though somebody objectively looking outside will say, well, that's not worth that. Okay, that's a different opinion. So you have cognitive dissonance. That's a really short-term lame
Right.
excuse for a definition of that, but you have this whole idea of what is of value, and you have to create that value. And I lost my point, I'm sorry.
Matthew, it's okay. And that the reason why it's okay, because I did want to highlight some of the chat because people have been typing a few things, and I went on kind of my long with the am I racist review. And no, I'm not asking the chat that question. It is a movie. I'm just messing around. Tony's Figs in the
What's up,
house.
Tony?
Club Tarkin. I want to see you dancing by the pool next year, son. You better get it on. Put them dancing boots on. Whoop whoop. Yeah. So I wanted to highlight a couple things here, real quick as we go down. Um, Disney does need to get back to basics. Same time toys. I agree 100%. Um, I did like this, and this goes back to what I was just saying about the way these people are writing movies and shows with the message speaks to how they view the intelligence level of the general population. And that's where I was talking about was
Yep.
basically off of what you typed. Who was competing? Who was Disney competing with that forced them to go off the rails to change? Todd C asks. Um,
It wasn't somebody they were competing with.
yeah,
It was a group of people that offered them a lot of money to make some of these changes,
yes,
and they thought that revenue would circumvent any losses that they would get from it, and
yes.
it did not.
And that somewhat goes back to again like the movie that I just watched today with the Matt Walsh movie, Am I
Yep.
Racist? It's that it it exposes people who have pounced on this crap and are taking advantage of your intelligence level and trying to convince you of things that don't exist in the way that they portray them, you know. And so yeah, it's the same kind of deal. I mean, really, War Chest says I love all those cartoon Thundar and Herculoid, Space Ghost, hell yeah. Thundar is awesome. Jack Kirby art, I agree. Same time, Christine says Thundar, that storytelling. They are fun though. I need to go back and check that out too. It's been a long time. And also War Chest, yeah, Space Ghost comic is shockingly good. For Dynamite, who somehow continues to get cool IPs, but they still have too many ads. Yeah, and that's the Dynamite comics. Is that right? Um, let's see. Speaking of that, on the video game front, kids, Ghost of Tsushima 2. Yes, it was announced. It's not called Ghost of Tsushima. Now, Matthew, I don't know if you're familiar with that
I've heard
game.
so many good things about it. I mean, if
It
I
is
was a gamer, I
amazing.
would definitely be playing that one.
It is amazing. It's a
Yeah,
wonderful game. I do actually have it right over here to my left.
nice.
But the sequel is Ghost of Yotei or
Yeah.
Yotai, Yotei. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the star of the new Ghost of Tsushima video game is a female Ronin. Female Ronin. That's going to piss some people off. I know that is, but doesn't mean it's not going to be a good game. And then real quick, yeah, Club Tarkin. Da, 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 da. Let's see. And also War Chest. Honestly, one of the reasons I stopped watching a movie or show, the minute they do something that's just completely lazy writing, or they do something that insults my intelligence, I'm out. Yeah, and you know it when you see it. We all
Yes.
know it when we see it, Matthew.
Yep.
You know you do. There's a thing that goes off in your head, and you go, "This is stupid. This doesn't make sense," or "No, that's not real life." Okay, I'm not talking about whether someone can beat somebody up, so to speak, or somebody can lift a car, and you know, those are different things. Okay, those are different things. But you know it from the human condition when you see this shit. You know it. It goes off in your head, and yes, it's easy to check out at that point. It just is. No, Ricky Gervais will never host the Oscars again, and that's a crying shame. And then Matthew right here, no way that you have time for video games? Question mark from Clint Jorgensen.
Yeah, you're correct. I
If
do
you
not.
if
My
you
my
played them
daughter
on
wants
two
to watch
times
me.
speed,
My daughter wants to watch me. She actually begs me to play some Zelda games so she can watch me run around in that world. But no, I really don't have any time to play video games.
yes, there were female Ronin and ninjas. Yes. And then Charlotte says that's the
No,
crazy.
so there were female protectors of villages that used things
Right.
like naginata that were the people left behind with things like naginata and bows and arrows and some other things
Right.
that were trained enough to defend a fortified village or a village or a township when the samurai left to go off to battle. So that there's a difference there.
we call those we call those the left behinders. No, so Charlotte says that's the craziest part. You can watch and even enjoy a show, but the minute they tell you that they think you're stupid, you just don't want any more to do with it. I agree, definitely. Todd C says I don't even know how Matt has time for tabletop RPGs.
Well, okay, so I don't do many tabletop RPGs. I do have some board games though that I do play with some friends on occasion. But tabletop RPGs I haven't really done since the 90s.
3-star draw says, "Oh, my plan worked. I knew that'd make Matthew snap." He's watched you enough, Matthew, on Punk's channel to know what makes you tick, buddy boy.
Oh yeah,
That's
he's
for
good.
sure.
He's good.
And then real quick, Bobby Wold coming in hot. Did anybody see the Lorenzo Di Bonaventura talk about the upcoming Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie? I did mention something, but it's been several streams ago.
I was gonna say that was a while ago.
I have not seen anything recent.
Yeah.
If there is a recent conversation, I definitely like to check it out so I can talk about it. I have zero faith in that person as a director, unfortunately, and that's his fault, not mine. But
yeah, he's come out and said some things that are
yeah, we
smart,
all know
not smart for him to say.
yes, and so yeah, man. Nonetheless, no, I haven't seen that, but I'd be glad to look anything up if you can direct me in that direction. I will check it out and probably talk about it on Friday. So we're about 20 after 11 my time, so we're at 2 hours 20 minutes. Probably time to kind of wrap it up. I would say, and then move things on for next week. I'll keep everybody posted. Matthew, do you have anything coming up here as we kind of finish things up?
I just wanted to throw some things out there that I really enjoyed recently that might be of some people's interest.
Okay.
TKO has a book, Lonesome Days, Savage Nights. It's a werewolf story. It's kind of a wolf cop story. There's 2 volumes out. The first volume is like $16-17 that you can get off of their website. TKO, this guy Simone Salvatore Simone is the kind of creator of it. It's kind of a really cool werewolf story. I wanted to go back and mention this again. There's still some late backer options for Dracula Volume 1 by Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones did the artwork. It is a retelling of Dracula's origin story. It's really freaking cool. Volume 1 is Dracula the Impaler. Volume 2 launches soon on Kickstarter as The Brides is the name of the story. And then I got this in this week. This was an incredible documentary on the science fiction movies of the 1980s. This book came in. I believe I have another one that's coming, but it goes through the history of science fiction movies, and it's got some stuff in there. So my second book, I think I'm going to try and do as a giveaway on our show here. Pop doesn't know that yet. I just told him right now.
Just finding out.
But I believe we're going to try and figure a way to do a little giveaway if anybody's interested in science fiction lore. This book is wonderful piece of 1980s science fiction history. If you're interested in that, just give us a holler, let us know, and we'll see if we can't arrange something for that. And then I've got my regular photos every week on my Instagram that I do every single day. And then that's it for me. I don't have anything else coming up that I know of just yet.
Yeah, always check out his photos at Mamu's action figure blog on Instagram. It is definitely worth your time. You guys all know that, of course. I know you do. So I put out a video today. It's a review of episode 1 and 2 of Agatha All Along. I put that out this morning. So if you guys haven't seen it, I'd appreciate it if you go watch it. Put it on 1.5 speed if you want to. I don't blame you one bit. But there are some funny little memes I've got in there, and I have some uh, couple funny parts that I've inserted into that video. But it's just a kind of a once over of episode 1 and 2 of Agatha All Along on Disney Plus, streaming right now. With Catherine Hahn. It has Aubrey Plaza in it, who's hot as all get out. But anyway, so it's my take on episode 1 and 2. It's just my review, and it's titled "Is Agatha All Along the Gayest Marvel Show Ever?" Is the title of the video. So if you get a chance, check that out. That's what I've done. And then I will be on Thursday with a friend with Punk this Thursday in just a couple days, couple nights. That will be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. And so I'm looking forward to that. That should be a good time. I've watched other people do it. I've watched people that I like and know and watch them go on there. And it's exactly that guy right there. And so, yeah, man, like I definitely though, I've been looking forward to this since it was put on the calendar. And so I can't wait just to have some fun and shoot the shit and just be super laid back and maybe answer some questions, man. Stuff like that. I think a lot of times you don't quite know exactly what you're going to get into until you're into it, right? And so there could be some good stories coming up on Thursday night. So join us on Punk's channel for that. Obviously, Friday I will be doing a unfiltered stream as well. And then next Tuesday we'll be back. We're going to talk some Sly Stallone, obviously, get into some Tulsa King, and maybe I'll pull a few other stories, a few other things maybe that might interest y'all. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. We had good viewership tonight. You guys are super active in the chat. It's always appreciated, man. I know each one of you in here, and you guys are always wonderful. Really, it makes it a lot more fun to have people interacting, than just me and Matthew talking to each other. Yeah, next Wednesday, Seven's Wild, and I'll make sure everybody knows about that next Tuesday, 100%. But yeah, man, check out that Agatha video if you get a chance on Pop Blender YouTube, and we'll do it again next week. Thank you, Shark guys. Yeah, man, I appreciate it, and I'll respond to each and every comment you guys put on there. But yeah, once again, thank y'all so much, and we will do it again next week. This show definitely wouldn't be anything without any of you hanging out. So I'll say goodbye for me. Goodbye for Matthew. Y'all have a good rest of your night or rest of your day in the land down under, baby. See you guys later on.